Whoa, 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 whoa. Before we continue today's episode of the GoLoco Podcast, just letting y'all know that the GoLoco Podcast has its own Patreon. Patreon is a website where you can support your favorite creators monetarily by giving a certain amount of money per month, and in return you'll receive benefits depending on which tier you are on. For the GoLoco Podcast, we have 3 tiers. First is the $1 tier. This basically gives you access to episodes when they come out, and it's a general support tier. The second tier we have is our $2 tier. In this tier, you'll get early access to episodes along with polls and discussions. If you're a new patron, you'll also, from this tier onwards, get shout out at the beginning of new episodes. Finally, we have our $5 tier. You'll get everything from the previous tiers, as well as access to raw, unedited episodes of the GoLoco Podcast. If you want to support me and you like the content that I have, please head over to patreon.com/GoLocoPod and choose from any of the 3 tiers and help me out as best as you can so I can continue to create content for all of you. Anyway, let's go on to today's episode. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone in the world. This is the GoLoco Podcast. I'm your host, Joven, and I got 2 very special guests, Justin and Vanessa. Well, how about you introduce yourselves? Let's start with whoever wants to start first.
Vanessa, go ahead.
You go,
sorry, I'm shy, but this is our first time. My name's Justin. This is our first time being a guest on the GoLoco Podcast. Shout out to Joven, our good friend. My name is Justin, and I met Joven at Banana Republic Factory Outlet. And Vanessa is this person over here.
What's up? I have also met Joven from BR.
Yeah, and today's topic is going to revolve much around Banana Republic, especially for my side of the conversation. But today we are talking mostly, we can go on tangents if you want. I'm all good. We're free flow. Don't cut too much, only cut awkward pauses like that. So we're going to talk about retail today. So let's just start with, Justin, I'll start with each of you, but I'll go with Justin first. Just give a basic rundown about your background in retail.
Banana Republic was not my first job. I actually started off at the Children's Place, which is still at the same outlet, same shopping center. But then I got recruited to Banana Republic. I was a cashier, sometimes sales floor, but not really. Open banana cards, credit cards, and pretty much scam people. What discounts? What discounts?
Wow,
okay, hey, I help you out. You help me out. That's the way it was. That's me. Vanessa.
Yeah. Well, starting at Banana was my 3rd job because I worked at a pho restaurant during high school. And I worked that up until the end of senior year, and then after I moved to a mall, which is called White House Black Market. I mean, sorry, not the mall, the store in a mall. But I'm actually not sure if that's still a thing. But yeah, so I used to work at a place called White House Black Market, just very
business
bougie
wear
type of clothing for very
business
rich,
wear, right?
rich ladies.
It's almost like business wear.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, kind of business wear. I don't know how to explain it. It is borderline business wear, but also kind of upper class suburban mom type of clothes. Very accurate. No, it's very accurate. That's what it looks like. Not hating it. Some of the clothes are very cute. But I worked there. Started working there when I was in my first year of college, 18. And then my 6 months being there, I was on the management team. And then because of the drive, because I was an hour almost, because being part of the management team, I was in charge of like opening and closing registers and opening up the store, whatever. And I would have to like leave my house really early. And then mind you, I was young. I did not have that type of schedule beforehand. So it was like new experience for me. But I was able to learn like so much from that job. And like, since I wasn't used to it, I decided like, okay, you know what? I need something that's less demanding. So I quit and I started at Banana, and I worked there for 2 years, starting on sales floor. And then I wanted a work management job because I honestly loved working as a manager at White House Black Market. So I was hoping for the same outcome in Banana, but politics and stuff happened.
To add,
and
my bad. But to add, this was like 4 years ago. So like 2016 time, we're like fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
And it's like, it didn't just stop there. The retail life, it continued, but we're going to let Joven ask us.
All right. Let me just give the audience a background on my experience in retail. My only retail job was Banana. I worked there for probably 2.5 years, I think. Definitely, I think somewhere around 2 years, probably a little over 2 years. Started off as a sales associate, just on the floor. Ended up being a cashier for a bit, and then eventually I just ended up becoming just a closer for basically the last 1.5 years of my time there, just folding down the store and just leaving it for the early morning crew to pick up wherever we left off. And yeah, so that's all I gotta say on my experience and what I did. However, as anyone who's ever been in retail or the food industry knows, there's a lot more that goes into just, I'm going to help you get your items and then you leave. It's much more complicated than that. Would you guys rather start talking more with customers or staff? Like in terms of what
Let's
do you guys?
take customers, sir.
Customers. All right. So, everyone knows about customers. Everyone's always seen the Karens. Let's just say, what's your favorite Karen story or just bad customer story? Just
We
that
laugh.
you can remember. Any funny ones, horrible ones, doesn't matter. We can go on forever. I know we can go on forever. We might as well, but let's just go like 1 or 2 stories each. Just go off.
I could talk about the recent job I was at. I didn't talk about it in the background, but I worked at Jimmy Choo and Tory Burch too. So most of that store, the store has shoes. Okay, here's the Karen moment. Okay, I'm a cashier, and this lady, she wanted to return it. Okay, return a shoe that she's already worn and said it's terrible quality, right? But little did she know is that the receipt she got has a final sale stamp on it. And when it's final sale, what does that mean? Final sale. Okay. So they're like, you can't give me store credit. Sorry. See, Karen is a guest on here. So this is the Karen I was talking about from, the podcast, but we'll plug that later. But, so why can't I return it? Well, ma'am, says final sale. That's our store policy. Unfortunately, you cannot get store credit or anything else in the nicest way possible, right? But, well, where's your manager? Let me talk to him. He or she always allows me to return and exchange. Okay. Calls manager, right? Boom. They say the same exact thing. Well, I'm going to contact your customer service.
Ooh.
Okay. My petty self at the time, I'll bust out the business card. I'll bust out the business card, search the customer service number because I don't know it, and I give it to them, and bye-bye. Karen moment. But that same Karen moment has gone even way back to Banana Republic, but that's just one instance. Vanessa, what about yours?
Well, let me see. This was the time when California implemented or at least Alameda County implemented the no plastic bag usage unless it's like 10 cents.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it was like literally that's when it just that was terrible. I mean, it's good for the environment, but customers and how they treat us, terrible. So I literally asked a lady, she only had like one thing. I think it was like a sunglass and a scarf. And she only had like those two things, right? Really small. I asked her, oh, do you need a bag? And I knew I was speaking
sure?
clearly. Okay. I was like, it was loud, busy. No, for sure. No, for sure. I was speaking clearly, very clearly. And I said, do you need a bag? No answer. Because she was on her phone, right? She was on her phone, not even paying attention. No answer. I didn't want to stay myself again. So I'm like, okay, maybe she didn't want one. So I just went about checking her stuff out, giving her the total price, letting her pay. And then when I gave her the stuff, I just pushed the items toward her with the receipt. And she's like, where's my bag? And I'm like, I asked if you wanted a bag and you didn't say anything. And I was like,
Jeez.
Just because I said something doesn't mean I didn't want a bag. I'm like, but like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like, okay, chill. Because I was a hothead, okay? At that time, 18, 19, whatever. I was a hothead. I am a hothead still. Much better now. I learned to control that. But it's like I couldn't fathom that she was kind of like yelling at me in a way. And then I guess one of the managers came over, I forgot who it was, but they saw how I was kind of like speechless. I didn't want to respond to her because she was like literally yelling at me, saying like, I told you where's the bag? Like blah, blah, blah. Where's my bag? And then that's when the manager took over and I told him what happened. And then I guess he just gave her the bag for free. And I'm like, literally over a bag. Are you serious? And she had bags already, like big, Coach bags where she could simply put the sunglass and the scarf in those bags. So, I mean, like, do you want the bag so you clout how much shopping you did or whatever? I don't know. What was her thought process, but yeah, that was a really weird Karen moment.
Yeah, for me, one story that comes to mind, it was like, I don't remember why, it might have been like a Memorial Day weekend. It wasn't Black Friday, but it was definitely one of the big sale weekends. I remember I was at Cash, and the customer came up with like 3 full shopping bags worth of clothes and stuff. She just kept giving it to me, and I was like, oh. And she's like, immediately, there was like almost no like time to even say hello. She just kind of threw everything on me, and I was like trying to, scan everything, get all the sensors out, I tried to engage in conversation, but it was like she was just like set on looking at the price, right? And it was like going on and on. Eventually I finished everything. It came up to like $600 or something. Let's say it's like $628, right? Total. And that's after all discounts or anything, right? And I was like, okay, final price is $628. This customer just looks at me dead in the eye and she says, never mind, and then just walks out. I was like, wow. And I had everything in bags. And I was like, and I don't remember who was the manager. It's definitely someone you guys know. I don't remember which one, but it was like, I think Vanessa, you were still there, but it was like, the manager just looked at me and he was like, go take your break. Because I was with this customer for like 30 minutes because they kept bringing out more stuff for her.
Oh my gosh. Oh, actually, no, I think I remember that.
Who is it?
I was like, why?
Well, I don't want to say. I want to wait till somebody says. Do you remember which manager or no?
Okay, we don't want to listen.
By the way, guys, we're not going to out any names, so.
Is he tall?
I have other retail stories, but they weren't.
Is he tall?
Specifically about.
Does he have a beard?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, it's definitely. It's that one. Yes. The beard. Yes.
I'll just say one thing. This is his,
take your break, and I'm like, oh
his slogan that he says all the time. You guys remember what it was? Not a problem.
Oh, he did say that.
Thank you so much. You were so great. Not a problem.
I just got flushed back with like memories.
I love that guy though.
So yeah. So what do you guys think are like some of the best and worst aspects of working retail? Like just in general, like of all your experience, what's one thing that's really you have fond memories of, and what's one thing you'd rather forget ever happened in terms of just overall experience?
Vanessa. Yeah.
I don't know what's
me?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he started last time. You go first this time.
Well, the one thing I really loved was the people. Some of the people was the people I met, like you, Joven, the guy. I'm not gonna say his name. Started with R, tall, glasses. A lot of the stock ladies too. It's and some of the managers too. Like I really enjoyed my time because they made it feel like such a fun experience just to come into work, like knowing that we could like mess around, they won't say anything, or sometimes, but they're not like on our asses about, hey, get back to work, or like
Right.
other people are like, oh my god, look, they're making
Mhm.
drama. It was never like that. So that's what's part that I really
Mhm.
do miss and enjoy. But one thing I really, really hated, I loathed, was the politics of the whole thing. Because I mentioned before, oh my god, how I wanted to like move up. I wanted to be part of the management team, and considering how hard I pushed myself, like I was literally going above and beyond, and I hated how other people who were getting cards got more
Awkward.
of a praise. And I'm sorry. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, it's just
Awkward.
like, how can you like treat your employees who are physically doing like the hardest labor, but you reward those who are just, I don't want to like crap on you guys because you guys are the cashiers, but it's literally like you're just standing there talking to people and making the company more money by selling cards. So you're basically locking down a membership, a money line for the company to that customer. That's why you're getting rewarded for it. But it's not like, I was never like, wow, I sound really bitter right now.
We're all bitter.
I was never like praised, like, oh, good job for like helping this customer out, and like, I don't know. And I know I did my best because like I had an experience with customer service and personal styling people from my last job that got me like a management position. So now I did the same thing even more, and it's just the politics of everything was just kind of crappy. So that's the part I did not like at all.
For me,
Justin?
what I miss throughout all of the retail jobs that I worked. So out of all the places, Banana Republic, Tory, Children's Place, Jimmy Choo, supervisor for 2 places. What I miss is, when you got your, your gang, your squad, right? Of like people that you work with, that you get along with, that kind of like that family kind of thing. Just coming in, like working with, especially at Banana Republic, that's Banana Republic and Tory Burch. At those places, there was a tight group of like management, you got associates, all kinds of positions. And we just came to work, do our job. And, in all of that, while we're working hard, everyone is just getting along. And, there was that camaraderie. That's the word. Wow, big word, Justin. Sheesh. But
Big words,
educated. Not really.
Educated.
But, yeah, that's just that team and like that being real with each other. Like we talk shit. Like, oh, like I like that criticism back then. Like I was being pushed as a cashier, at Banana Republic, which molded me into becoming a better, that would push me to the next level for management, right? I can't really relate. I get what Vanessa was saying, right? The politics, I'll get into that. But for me, it's like I liked how I was being pushed. Yes, they choose people who to push because they could, manipulate certain people. It wasn't me, in my opinion. But these 2, I guess you could say now they're my friends. Now they are. They've always been. But, I showed them what I could do, what I have to offer. And I always asked, what can I do better that will get me to that point? And sometimes I didn't even have to ask. They just say, hey, you know what, Justin, you did shit at that. Why don't you try this? And then we'll see from there. Okay. We all know the not a problem told me to do that. The not a problem guy. That's how he talked. He's like, we'll go from there. I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean? So it pissed me off and I was challenged. And I was like, all right, fuck it. And I brought it all the way to the last job I worked, Jimmy Choo. But that's what I miss. Just a team and pushing each other, motivating each other like a family. What I don't miss is the politics, just like what Vanessa said. If they don't like you, you're not going to move up. Okay? It's as simple as it is. No matter how hard you work. Okay?
No matter how hard.
No matter how hard you work, like we said. But it's not just that. If, let's say, you have a two-faced manager, okay? In front of your face, they say one thing. Behind your back is another thing, all right? And you're kind of lost as an associate or manager, right? You're just like, okay, I'm not getting any of the truth or the honest opinion of others. I'm just getting a bunch of, she said, he said, right? And you're just like, okay, you know what? Fuck this shit. I feel like they do that on purpose. The politics, well, I don't think you could avoid it. It's retail. Politics is always there. But in my situation, the politics affected me to the point where it's like, I don't even want to come into this job because it just turned into shit. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. No cap. This place, okay,
no cap,
that I've worked at, I'm going to say before Jimmy Choo, okay, it's still a shitty ass place to work at till this day. The people that I've worked with that are still there, which is only 10% of people, it's still a shit place. And I will never go back there. And yes, I'm burning a bridge, but fuck that. That place fucking ruined it for me with retail.
And it's really, it shows that it was such a bad place to work at, such a negative place to work at, when past managers who actually wanted the best for you quit too, and they contacted you. I actually had two managers do this, which is I love them for it, but they understood how much of a terrible place it was that they reached out and said, hey, I know I don't work there anymore, but always use me as a reference because I know how hard of a worker you are, because they understand how it was. And I'm like, wow, you're so real. I love you. But it's just, it sucks knowing that your hard work is going nowhere. And it's personally I noticed it was the politics and the personal relationships, because I don't think I mentioned this, but at Banana, I wasn't even labeled as a merchandiser or marketing associate. I was just a regular plain associate, which is kind of crappy because I don't get the pay for it nor the title for my future jobs if I decided to go back to retail. But anyways, I was doing the window displays before the corporate visits. I was helping with the merchandising. I was helping with the floor sets, all of that shit. And I was doing that even before another person. I'm not gonna say her name. I was doing that before another person who I started working and doing those stuff first, and she got the management job because she had a better relationship with one of the managers.
Damn joke.
That I wanted. So it's just kind of so, it's just so unfair. I'm like, why am I even here? And then I think after that, I just started not giving a crap anymore. And everybody started noticing it, giving my work to other people to handle because they think I can't handle anymore. It's just freaking toxic and so petty. I straight up did not like that place after that happened.
we both going off.
Yeah, you're going off. I was letting you. I got the content, man. I was like, I'm just gonna let it go. Yeah.
And then we're not crapping on the company itself. We're crapping but then at again, the people at this company.
Since I'm done with retail now, it's I look at it I try my best to try to put that negative moments. I put it all in perspective. I'm like, you know what? I think that happened because of this, or it just turned out this way because of this. So I just you know what? I'm done with that petty shit. To be real with you guys, I'm done with that petty shit. And, it's no hard feelings. At the end of the day, I know what, Vanessa can relate. We both know what we brought to the table, okay? Where we're kind of similar. We take our jobs seriously because we're serious people. We don't like to fuck around. If we do, it's because we're comfortable with you, right? And then when we're not, we get the shit for it. And then they don't like us. Okay. So what the fuck you want? You want me to kiss your ass? That goes with the politics. It's a system in retail, guys. If you guys are just getting into it, I'm not saying avoid it. Hey, I mean, it pays. If it pays, it helps out with bills. Hey, it is what it is. But would I recommend it? Definitely not. Definitely not. It's not for everybody. It's a lot of stress. And that's just how it is. And it will always be that way.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
I apologize. I apologize.
It's all good. I was like, no, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, for me, I would say some of the things, the camaraderie between certain people, definitely I felt that, especially during the latter half of my time at Banana. I would say when a lot of, like, you guys started leaving, or Vanessa was still there, but you, Justin, a lot of the old guard was leaving. I kind of became the old guard, or just the guy who was there the longest. And then all the newer people came and I had to train them or talk with them. It was, those times are definitely the things I remember. The things I hate, obviously, I never got too high up where I would have to be concerned with the politics, but just hearing about it for people was just so draining. Just hearing about it, I could only imagine how you guys were in the thick of it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
can we take a 1 minute break?
Take a break.
I had to go. I have to eat real
Sure,
quick.
1 minute break is get our.
Sorry. Yeah, hold on.
Are you gonna eat in 1 minute? Oh, let me finish my Hello Panda.
Dang, that was some memories I'm reliving right now.
I was like, did I give you guys like PTSD flashbacks? My God, I'm sorry.
Kinda.
I'll go like some more happier topics next.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to like go back on this because I mean, like,
oh gosh,
it was a good.
Oh, sorry, because I'm in my mom's closet and the bathroom's just right there. So. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Was that a? Never mind. Pride Month.
Oh
No. I'm just saying that, Joven, because Vanessa's fucking bitch ass. I told her for the first time, hey, I'm starting to record in the closet, and she was like, oh, I mean, it is Pride Month. I mean. I was like, I'm halfway in the closet and I'm halfway out, because literally that's how I was set up. And then Vanessa said that shit. I was like, you fucking bitch. I don't really mean that she's a bitch, but just you know what I mean. This motherfucker,
I know.
But yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. No.
It's just real, man. I'm telling you, me and Vanessa, we gonna be real here. We don't have to beat around the bush about this shit.
That's all good. That's what I like that. So yeah, let's go talk more about like staff in terms of other associates, managers. Just like, as people have said, the people you work with make and break your job even more so than the customers. Because if you have a good support system, the customers could be like complete shit, but you guys could work through it and all push together. But if you guys are just like not clicking and everyone just hates each other, and as you said, it gets political, it's way harder to deal with even just a normal amount of angry customers, let alone when stuff like Black Friday or Memorial Day weekend or July 4th. It's just much different than if you have a good amount of friends or just coworkers you get along with or just click with.
You know what I really actually noticed too, now that you mentioned that, like whoever you're working with makes or breaks your work life is, I remember Black Friday or like the big holidays, the good managers would always say, have fun. The bad managers would always say, make money, make that money.
Ooh.
Give us money, give cards. All
right. So if you're ever a sales associate or a retail worker during Black Friday and you want to know if your manager is, you don't have a good read on what your manager is like, you'll know once right before Black Friday and it's about to start. You'll know because they'll either say, have fun or make money.
Well, For me,
It's good advice.
in my opinion, like when it comes to that, it's like, not every manager could be there. Everyone has their own management style, right? I don't want to get too much into detail, but there are times when you have to, that's the way you have to approach each person individually in a different way. Because maybe, like what Vanessa says, maybe
Right.
saying we got to make money to a certain somebody is going to fire them up. You can't say it to, let's say, Joven, for example. You're more laid back and chill, right? I don't think you want to hear that shit. You want to hear something that's going to boost your energy, kind of fire you up, like, hey, it's like a pep talk. Yeah, like a pep rally.
Like a
But
pep
then
rally.
there's other people that's like, I don't fucking care. Like, what do I care? You tell them straight up, we got to make money.
Mhm.
And he's being real with you. It's like I said, not everyone is the same. So it's kind of like some phrases and words said to certain individuals is the right way to say for those people. That's just me. That's just how I took it.
That's true.
And I learned from that.
That is also true. It's all good.
And I feel like
All
Vanessa,
perspectives
she
are
had
welcome here,
management
man.
experience. I had management experience. We're probably like, I wasn't really around when she was like management, right? Because we only worked at BR together, Banana. And yeah, we know each other personally, but
Yeah.
work is different. Work is different. Like when I became supervisor, the whole like, oh, friends look at you differently and whatnot. Managers treat you differently because you're a manager now and whatnot. But enough of that. Basically, it comes down to like, just be yourself. When you're a manager, be professional. When you're professional, everyone else will try to be, well, you kind of want to lead by example, but that's not always the case. End story.
Mhm. See if you clock out first. Then you could talk some shit.
Hey, you want to kiss their ass? Okay, buy them Starbucks.
That's
Whoa, too far or what? Too far or what? Am I describing? Oh, no. Fuck it. Buy them Starbucks. Go get Starbucks together. Okay. Always ask them, hey, where would you like to go to eat lunch? Right. Or like, hey, what are you doing? If you're a management, you're not supposed to hang out with your employees, but they still fucking did. I did. I'm not in there anymore, so I could say that. I hung out with them. They my motherfucking gang. They my friends. I was like, shit.
I hang out. Well, I'm a manager right now too, but it's like I'm still close to all of my other coworkers who are like below me. Like I tell them this. I mean, as a manager, don't be like me. But at the same time, if you think it's okay, then do it. Anyways, I just basically tell them like all the stuff that like kind of goes on that they don't know about on the through manager perspective. And it's kind of saying like, oh, the reason why he did this was because of this. It's complete bullshit. But yeah, you have some great powers when you're a manager, and some great chismis. But anyways, yeah, but being in a management position, you are treated differently. You are put to a higher standard, and the expectation kind of makes you act a certain way because you do have to uphold
like produce
and
results, basically
push that.
Yeah, because if not, you're a shitty manager.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you want your team to you want your team to respond to you, right? And if you just lost all of that control, then you're kind of like, oh well, shit, I'm just a normal associate as well then. Right?
Yeah. It's even crazy too, because this night, I mean, it's part of my job right now was kind of retail because we do have to sell contracts and memberships. But even like this, it was like I was thinking about this the other day too. But thinking what went wrong in Banana, because I went above and beyond for this job and I got the manager position within a year, and I'm just annoyed because I could have done so much more being at Banana if they gave me the chance, but they didn't. And I produced so much more results for the place I'm at right now. I don't want to say the name, sorry. At the place I'm at right now, and I'm actually making them money because I'm having people come in, new people sign up, maintaining members. So it's kind of retail itself is just, it shows you what your capable and not capable of. And if retail's not for you, prove yourself somewhere
else,
you, another sector.
How come did you aspire? Wow. Another nice word. Damn, I'm on fire. Oh, that rhymed. Aspire and fire. Awkward. Okay. Awkward. Okay.
Oh shit, he's a rapper, man.
Oh gosh. Okay, Joven. Did you aspire to become something more when you were in retail or no?
I feel like at first I did, and I could definitely feel that I was definitely pushing more to get do more stuff, talking to customers, trying to push cards more, trying to get the attention of the managers. But I feel like I didn't have the personality to mesh with just any of the managers just to even start up the conversation. And over time, the retail fatigue just set in. By the time that I really might have wanted to, it was already at the point where other people were already getting positions and they weren't looking like they were leaving anytime soon. It was just it was never the right moment, never the right time. I never clicked with any of the upper management, so eventually I just ended up. I'll say I did settle. I could have done more if I had pushed just that one extra notch, but I kind of just settled on where I was a sales associate, and it wasn't bad. I didn't have a bad time with it, but I did. Looking back, I do have regrets probably not pushing just that extra, maybe for 1 or 2 more months. If I did this, I would have gotten a higher position, or I would have gotten that raise that I'd been wanting, or whatever. But in the end, it wasn't. I wouldn't say I had a horrible experience, but it was just I never was able to
blossom.
Feel like I deserved. It was more it was also on me. Just I never felt like I deserved getting those positions either. So if I felt like if I didn't feel like I was ready for it, I didn't want to push other people to think that I was ready for it when I wasn't. I didn't want to pass over someone who was much more experienced or much more capable or much more naturally good at.
That's a good point that you make, man, because favoritism aside, because managers can, they could be, they're like, oh, I like this person over this person, that's why I don't give them a chance, right? But for example, like Joven's case, okay, maybe if the manager was more fair, let's just say, right? You want to look at someone, I'm not saying Joven wasn't, but you want to look at someone who's going to stand out and go above and beyond, right? They say that a lot. It fucking kills me. We want to see you where you can excel and go above and beyond. And I'm just over here that person did go above and beyond. You didn't even give them a chance. You didn't even talk to them. So, you know what I mean? Everyone is capable if you put in the effort and you basically have to sell yourself like another interview. It's a separate interview that will show them hey, you know what? I could trust this person and they're going to make it work. Voila. So like you said, if, you wanted to actually try, right? You probably could have. But, that retail fatigue, like you said, you're like, shit, fuck this. Man, I'm tired. I feel it. Hey, man, I have a story.
That retail
fatigue. Go ahead. I have a story about Joven.
Story time.
I remember
go.
Because he was having an off day at the cash wrap. Okay. At this time, I was cash wrap specialist, but that's nothing. Okay. That's not even a position. It was made up. Banana tends to do that. Oh shit. Going too much? But but anyway, Joven had an off day, okay? He wasn't opening cards. He was just there ringing customers. And oh shoot, I almost said the name, but a manager, the bearded guy and the tall guy, they both come to me, right? To their cash wrap specialist, and they say, hey, maybe you should develop they called him Jonathan. I'm not supposed to say Jonathan. Joven. So Jonathan, they're like, hey man, you should kind of push Jonathan to improve and do better. And then, I told them, hey, I'll try. That's how I talked to them at the time. I was like, hey, I'll try. He's just, his personality. And then this specific day, Joven said, I don't know, man. That's how he talks. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm just, kind of tired. And I just said, me too, man. I'm like, me too. I was like, me too. You know what? Just go to zone 1 and maybe just recover or something. So I was like, you know what? This guy's so chill that maybe, you know what? He's not the type to be pushed. All right. So yes, I kind of gave up on Joven at that time. Story. That's the story.
And it's not even that.
It's just that day. He was just really tired, and you could tell his eyes. Like, he only probably got like 2-3 hours of sleep. I was like, boy, I ain't gonna push anybody that looks like that. So I was like, I'm like, yeah, maybe just recover, chill out. You know, it's a slow day. You know, it's fine. That's the story I remember. Oh, I'll do one more story. Sorry, it's about Joven.
Here we go.
Sorry,
I was going to talk about. Let's talk about stories next.
Sorry, listeners, viewers. Me and Vanessa talk a lot. We apologize. We get intense. Okay. Oh my god!
Just enjoy and get some drinky drink.
Sit back, drink some tea.
You know, but we do shots. I'm just kidding. All right, so
Tequila.
Second story. I'll keep it short. All right, it's about Joven again. The all-star right here. So he was opening a card, you know, and he was still relatively new, but we just threw him into the fire, right? All right. It's a busy day. I think it was a weekend. And, you know, we were like, at this time, it was only like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I have good memory, y'all. Good memory. 4 o'clock, afternoon, busy weekend, right? All 6 registers were filled. Joven was at the very last register with the little table, right? And he was opening a card, and he was at the part where you apply the discount at the end, right? They got approved, right? Joven did not apply the discount, and it went through, okay? And I think I had rage at this time, and I feel bad till this day. Now that I remember, I kind of said, Joven, are you fucking serious? Like, under my breath to him. And then his eyes got all, you know, super googly at me. And he was like, shit, I fucked up, huh? I was like, Joven, this is a true story. You might have forgot. But I was like, dude, you're supposed to put fucking 984 when they get approved, and then you put it through. And then he was, oh yeah.
Why, you still remember the codes?
Yeah, BRFS 20, 984, wow. Student 10, Educate 10. Come on. Military 10.
Oh god.
RMN 20. Come on. But anyway. So I yelled at Joven under my breath, like a whisper yell. I was like, are you fucking serious? You didn't apply the damn coupon? And he was like, oh, so I guess I fucked up. And I'm like, yes, you did. So now I got to re-ring it. And I was like, you know what? After that, I got off the register. I went to the back. I almost said the name again. I went to the bearded guy and the tall guy. And I was like, hey, because I had to report to them basically, like, this happened. And I showed them a receipt. And I then, you know, rerung the customer a new transaction. And they were like, okay, well, you need to train Joven more. And then my thing was like, you know what? He's still new. And I went up to Joven and I was like, hey, you know what? It's only like your first 2 weeks. It's fine. It's fine. And then he messed up again. And then I was like, okay, get off cash rep. Now you can tell what kind of fucking leader I was. You damn leader.
Got to the point later on where I felt like I was in that same position later on. And I'm like, why can't you add this discount, man? Like, to like the new people, like, what? I don't know what to do. I'm like, no, and because I wasn't probably as like able to explain it as well, I was like, dude, just chill, okay? I was more like, just chill. It was like, I didn't react the same, but like, just chill, man. You got this. Because I literally remember one time like the customer didn't know.
Just go with it. Just nod. Just nod.
And it worked. It was like, never noticed. Never came back. So I was like, it's all good. It's just long. Just don't play.
Is this a segment of stories?
Vanessa. Yeah, I was gonna say tell some story. I have like one story that always comes to mind when I work retail, but I'll say that for last since this is my podcast. Do you have any funny stories, Vanessa, or just stories that are just
Not
like
really funny,
Oh, Jesus.
but like controversial.
I'm okay. Talk.
I mean, this kind of happened at the end of my time over there. But I'm pretty sure you guys know or seen this girl, but curly haired. But I remember like the card was such like getting cards was such like a competitive thing, and like I guess I got the attention of one of the managers, and some stuff happened. I don't know, and she ended up having like a what's that term that they use? Like a manager in training?
Manager in training, or like
Or a
shit, what the fuck they call it? Some bullshit again. Acting.
well, acting. Yeah, there we go.
Manager, yeah.
So she was basically tested to see how she acts for how she reacts to being in the position, and basically the only reason why she got that was because she was kind of dating one of the managers at the time, and he kind of vouched for her. I don't know. Yeah, but that's a story that I remember that happened that kind of made me angry. But on a customer story, I remember this one lady was getting all the clothes. I was angry because I mentioned before I did the mannequins and stuff, and like we do pins on the clothing so they like could fit the form or the body type of the mannequins. And these mannequins are very skinny, so there's a lot of pins in them. I remember this. I remember this one lady, because when you have a damaged item, you get 10% off per item, right? So she was literally just getting all of the clothes off from the mannequins, not even from like the stacks or the racks, just the mannequins, because she thought, oh, these have like holes in them. I could probably get discount 10%. And then I helped her because nobody else knew how to remove the mannequin's arms and the head and whatever. But I was like getting those pins off of her, and then I was kind of like, is she really going to get all of the items off of the mannequins all around the store, like from the window, from the floor, from the top of the display? I'm like, this lady is getting that discount. She's hustling right now. And then on top of that, she used coupons, and I'm like,
she knew her. She knew she was a veteran coupon shopper.
Yes, you know for sure she was. But yeah, that's all the story I can remember, honestly.
For me, there's always this one story. It's like a mixture of managers and customers, and just overall, it was just crazy at the time. I don't know if it will translate well into story format, but it's always the memory that comes to mind. So it's like a 2-part story. So the first part of it's just in the middle of the day, I'm ringing people up, and then these 2 women come up to me. I might have told the story before on my podcast before, but I might not. But I remember them because they were like tall. I mean like tall. Like they tower over me, like easily over 6 foot. Each of these women, they're just like, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, these are just Amazonian type women, right? They're like, and it was like, I remember it being like, I think summer, and yet they were wearing coats. So I was like, I don't know what goddesses just came down who were like going to smite some people, but I wasn't intimidated. I was just like, oh my God, they're tall. And then so it was just going on normally. I would just like bring their items. And then at one point, they started laughing at each other. I was like, why are they laughing? And then at the end of the transaction, one of them like says, hey, do you know which person is blah, blah, blah? And they described one of the managers there. And I'm like, yeah, did he help you? And she's like, yeah, he helped a lot. And then she said, can you stick out your hand? And I'm like, me being all tired, not tired in the way I was tired last time, but just, it's just like, it's just normal. Just like, okay, this thing is going on a little longer than usual. Just want to get you out of here. At that point, I put my hand out, and then she's like, can you call that manager and give this to him? And she like put something in my hand, and I looked at it with a piece of paper. I'm like, what the hell? So it was like, okay, I'm going to make up a fake name.
It's necessary.
Because it's the Abercrombie and Fitch manager, Vanessa, if you know who that was. It's like, hey, Nick. It's like, what? It's like, 2 ladies just came and they wanted me to give you this. I already knew it was their number, but obviously he was like, okay. And then I was actually about to go on my break, so I left and I saw them still giggling outside. And I'm like, oh, this is just hella funny. And he just looked at it, and Nick was just like, oh, what the hell? And he's like, looked outside, smiled, and turned back around. And he was like, oh my God. Because it was just like, I don't even know if he I don't know what happened, but skipping over to the end of the night, I'm obviously closing shift, as per usual near the end of my time at Banana. I was ringing up the last customers, and you know how people were speaking on the radio, right? We had some people were figuring out, hey, who wants to go get this afterwards, right? Because a lot of closing shift, we like to hang out back then right after we close, going like in and out or something, right? So Nick was like, hey, I want to hang out too. I want to be cool. But I don't know if you were there at that time, Vanessa. I can't remember. I wouldn't. But it was all over radio. And everyone on the radio was like, oh, man, you're a manager. Why would you want to do that? And I was like, and he's like, oh, man, but I'm so lonely. And light bulb moment on top of my head. While I'm ringing up the last customer, who were they weren't paying attention, but I grabbed the radio, just turned it on and just said, hey, Nick, man, don't you have those two ladies waiting for you outside? Just on top of my head. Because by that time, everyone had heard about the story, whether it was from me or people nearby or him.
Well, actually, now that you remember, I do remember a little bit.
I kid you not.
Because I was still there when he went to another store.
Yeah, and I was near. Yeah, he left I think right before I left. But legit, I remember it wasn't even on the radio anymore. The whole closing crew from the back, especially this one person. And Vanessa, I think you know who it is.
Is that the one I was talking about earlier?
Whatever. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, laughing his ass off, to the point where customers in front of me said, did something happen? Is someone hurt? And I'm like, oh, no, they're just playing around. And they're like, oh, cool. It's all good. But it was legit for 10 minutes. They're just laughing. And Nick would not talk to me for a week after that. It was so embarrassing for him.
I did not like him at all. Every time I try to talk to him, even if it's a nice way, he just give me attitude all the time. And then I just end up giving him attitude, and it just made things worse. And I'm like, I hate it here.
Yeah, it was just, but that was just the funniest thing, just because the reaction. I remember it was just everyone was screaming. The guy who was screaming when the customers left literally did a whole hype run around the store, jumped around, hopped around. I was like, oh my God, chill. It was I didn't think it was that big of a burn. Oh, speaking of that same guy who liked to hop around, jump around, one time locked his keys in his trunk, and we all the closing crew just sat around laughing at him one time.
I remember that.
I was he was just wait, I think I put my keys in my backpack, and I just put my backpack in my trunk. And I'm like, how?
This is so dumb.
Yeah, he was a character, but yeah, that's basically all I got. Any final thoughts on retail? On either of you two?
Well, I remember I had this embarrassing moment. I talked with these two Filipino ladies, kind of bougie, but I don't know why. I'm just really awkward. Try to make conversation, and it turned out very badly. But I literally was ringing them up, and then they had bags and stuff, and I was like, "How was your guys' day?" And they were like, "It's cool. We just finished shopping." And then my stupid ass was like, "Oh, time to go home. Wallets are empty." Just play around, but I didn't realize how rude that sounded. And then they're like, "No, we have money still." And I'm like, "Shit, why did I say that?" Did you guys ever have what you said to customers were embarrassing or kind of rude in a way? And you just caught it afterwards or in the moment?
None that comes to mind.
I intend
nothing
to.
Like that.
Well, not even awkward. It's
awkward.
When you make them feel uncomfortable, where they take a little step back and they're like, "Oh, I got what you meant by that. Okay, I'm gonna get out," kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the classic. Well, if you look at the time, you're the last customer. Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, am I really?" Ooh. Yes. Now get out, kind of thing.
Oh my God. Or if they're waiting at the door and they see us closing up, and they're like, "We're just gonna look a little bit," and they're in there for an hour.
Okay, something like the door, right? Okay, that you brought that up. So I was at Tory, and I was a supervisor at the time, and I had to close the door because I was counting the registers, but I had somebody watching the money, obviously. Okay, so I was about to close the door and somebody said, "Oh, you guys are still open? Okay, we close at 9, right? Okay, so you know what I said to the customer? I said, no, we're still open. It's VIP access time." And then really sarcastically, that's how I am, right? And she was like, "Oh, really?" Like she actually believed me. I said, "No, actually we're closed. We're closed at 9. It's 9:02. I said it's 9:02 and I'm already counting the register, sorry. They're like, "Oh, I really thought you guys were open." I was like, "No, we're not." Okay. And then she left.
At least they weren't caring about it. They're like, "Well, I want to."
You could kind of control the Karen moments with the way you say it. You have to choose your words wisely. If they don't like it, well, that's too bad. That's too bad. So
definitely.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
it's so
is.
satisfying when you
Whoever's
do.
gonna
on this whole Reddit
to wrap things up, I guess
stuff.
like final thoughts, I would say to anyone, the viewers, listeners who's been in retail or is getting into retail, just know like you can follow a career in it, but it's going to be a process. You kind of have to be, sometimes it takes a lot of effort and you got to be someone you're not. As hard as it sounds, as difficult to say it, it's just how it is. You kind of have to be fake, you know, unless you're surrounded by like a good support group, like what Joven's been saying the whole entire podcast, like the people you love, the people you work with, your team, then yeah, you know, you'll go places. But if not, and you're not budging, oh, you ain't going nowhere. But career, man, I don't know how these managers do it. Being a GM, moving up to DM, district manager, and then headquarters. I don't know how y'all do it, but props to you guys, I guess, and retail people out there who's been working for years and years, stuck at the same position. You know, I wish y'all all the best. That's it. That's me. Vanessa, before we go.
I mean,
that sucks.
more of like a background part. Like if customer service isn't for you, try like stock. I mean, you guys, it's bitter work because you have to come in early morning or graveyard basically, but at least you don't have to talk to people. And like I had like a brief moment because again, I was like doing the visual and stuff. I had a brief moment. I was actually going to change my major to visual marketing. And I was like, maybe I should do this. I actually really enjoy this, but it ended up, I didn't really want to do it anymore. So if you feel like customer service isn't for you, you can always try other avenues of the retail industry, like stock or visual merchandising. You could try and make a career out of that. Yeah.
Well, with all that being said, thank you to my guests Justin and Vanessa. So if you guys want to, I know you guys have your own podcast, so if you want to let the listeners know more about that, you can do so now. I don't want to say anything.
You guys could follow us on our Instagram page. It is Love Yourz Podcast. That is on IG. And we also have a Instagram page. So Love Yourz Podcast on Instagram. It's _LOVE, yours with a Z, and podcast.
Yes. So
and Dustin, you want to tell us about your
Twitter's
Twitter
Love
page?
Yourz Pod. You know, we try to bust out, you know, these episodes every weekend, Saturday or Sunday. And also we talk about, you know, modern student life, social psychology, and relationships. It gets a little spicy up in there, you know, but you know, it's something to look forward to, something to relax to, and enjoy. So we would love to have some new listeners from the GoLoco Podcast, you know.
And we actually have an episode with Joven in it too, so you guys should go listen to that on our channel.
So once you listen to this podcast, please go on to their podcast and listen to the episode that I'm on, where we talk a little bit more about Asian toxic culture, and if that interests you, definitely go on there. Both of these episodes will be coming out soon. I don't know when.
Soon.
But no, soon. I always say soon. Soon. Whether I don't know if this one's coming out first or theirs coming out first. One of them will come out first, and then the other one will follow.
Or
maybe
it will come out tomorrow.
Who knows?
But then they won't know though.
Oh yeah,
I'm such an
it would
asshole.
be unlisted on
Anyway.
YouTube or something.
All right.
So anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Remember to follow my podcast on Instagram at the GoLoco Podcast. We have a Facebook page under the same name, the GoLoco Podcast. If you're listening over on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment below, actually, what's one thing from retail that you remember? What's one story that happened to you that always sticks with you? Anyway, wherever and whenever you are in the world, have an amazing day. Peace out.
Oh, wow.